It's time once again to go racing.
It does not get any better than this.
The pressure is really on now.
Yes, it's pole position. Lights out and we're racing in PSGL.
The first lap has been absolute chaos.
What an overtake!
Oh no!
I've never seen anything like it.
Side by side again. This will be settled right at the end.
Hello everybody and welcome along to PSGL Season 30 sponsored by Grid Rival, and this is round number 2 of the PSF2 Championship, and we go to a circuit which has been on the PSGL calendar before and is one of our favourite tracks. It is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah. My name is Jess and joining me as per usual we've got Owen White. Owen, welcome back.
Thanks, Jess, and hello, viewers. And yes, I am back after the Austrian race last week where we saw a 6 different winner in the first 6 races.
Yeah, we did as well, and it was a really, really good race indeed. And we saw a few people didn't have the best of races. There was quite a few incidents as well. We saw Kazizel finally have the good luck that he was meant to have and take the win. And it looked like it could have gone to anyone else, but Kazizel, he was just performing really, really well. He didn't start on pole either. Nobody that's won a race this season has started on pole, so I think it's been a bit of a pole curse. But Kazizel, after those DNFs, he's now back on the championship campaign. Currently sitting 9th in the standings, but surely that must mean there may be somebody else still yet to get a win that we haven't seen get a win yet. Maybe Devon, perhaps, or even the likes of, obviously, CC Brain as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But Jeddah, who knows what's going to happen? A completely new circuit, a high-speed circuit as well, and one of the second longest street circuits on the Formula 1 calendar.
Absolutely the fastest, and it means that we're going to have a quite fascinating set of races here where for all the tiers, because you've really got to be on your toes in qualifying and the race and sort of picking your moment to do stuff, because you get it wrong, the walls are properly close here, and it means we should get some very exciting action, especially if the weather decides to get involved as well.
Yes, and people may be thinking, no, we're talking crazy, but on Wednesday in the PC tier, it was raining in Jeddah in the race, and a few people weren't prepared for it, so I'm almost certain the PSF2 drivers were probably more prepared for any weather that comes their way. So without further ado, we'll go through the standings later on. We'll go into the qualifying session. Only 15 drivers here tonight, but we hopefully still get to see some fantastic racing, and it's quite, even though it's a long street circuit, the laps tend to be around about 125s, 126s as well, similar to what you get in certain night races like Bahrain as well. But you got to use the curbs to its full potential here tonight as well, because if you don't use the curbs too much, then you're not going to gain as much lap time. But we'll see what everyone else can do. Cohen is currently on a lap as well. Pretty much everyone is out, either on their out laps or on track.
Yeah, well, I was watching because this is the last time out race winner, but he's been all over the place in that first attempt, and he's got it all wrong really in the first sector, and that's the problem with it out here. You make a single mistake, it just sort of rebounds, and you're going to hit walls everywhere. And so, because this is lucky to still be in the session as he's gone through, and now it would be the fastest person on track, and as you say, a few more drivers are also on track. But yeah, one mistake here, since the corners coming is so fast, it will lead to chain reactions, and it really does mean you've got to be so careful, but you can't really be slow and careful because you're just not going to have any sort of lap time. You're going to be last on the grid, and what's the point at that point? You've really got to go full sense, so that's why this is such a difficult race. And you can see as he was extending at the last fast chicane, so there are still points in the track where the guys can sort of extend and take a little bit of advantage. So it'll be interesting to see who knows their lines. But as he comes around the last corner for Haas, this will be the fastest time. He has kept it all valid, and the benchmark for the rest of the field will be a 1 minute 27.5.
Yeah, still more time to find, of course, because we've seen in the tiers on Wednesday and Thursday times be a lot faster than that as well. For those of you that don't know, Jeddah was on the Formula 1 calendar last year. It made its debut into Formula 1. Quite a bit of drama happened there as well, but there still was some great battles from quite a lot of the drivers as well. And I have to say, league racing produces a lot better battles compared to real life. I think we've seen side-by-side battles going through the banked corners as well, potentially, and some moves potentially heading towards turn 27, the long straight heading towards the final corner, as we're seeing quite a few invalidations already. I think you can invalidate towards turn 4 and 5 as well, where the curbs can easily go back at you at times as well. But we're seeing some more faster times. Tom is currently the fastest man on circuit, 1:26.6. He's won a race this season. Second is CC Brain with a 1:26.9. He's yet to win a race this season. Valentine, he's been in trouble by the stewards from last week from his incident in Austria. He got a 5-second penalty from, I can't remember what incident it was, but he got a 5-second penalty anyway, added to his time because he broke too late into turn 4 and run into the back of Jax, causing him to spin. And there was a bit of lag on Jack's side, but that was not the cause of the contact. It was Valentine. So yeah, 5 seconds added to his race time, and I'm sure this will mean he wants to get involved in less incidents tonight, which is probably a track where we could see more incidents. Let's hope not, because this is one of the top tiers in PS. So let's hope they get some practicing, so we can tell who has practiced and who has not.
So we've got the first set of runs, I'd say, pretty much over now. A few didn't do them on the soft, and I wonder if the lower sort of numbers tonight mean that some people might be looking at doing the mediums, the more sort of viable qualifying tyre. We do only have, I'd say, about 8 properly representative times so far, so there are definitely places where some can improve. And we'll see where that all ends up happening. I think Kryptonite's out on an outlap. He's actually stuck on the medium tyres. He invalidated on his first time out on track and has decided to go straight for those. Probably just to get a bank run, I'd imagine, but still we'll keep our eye on him because he'll be pretty much here with the track to himself. Cohen's on the complete upper side. He's also mediums for an outlap. The rest are either on in laps or in the pits. And so, yeah, this will be interesting to see how it all goes with someone off sequence having to try the lap. As he comes around the final corner, we'll see, yeah, will he be able to take advantage? Let's see.
Yes, and I think a few people could take advantage as well, maybe towards the end of the session, maybe about 5 minutes to go, maybe some of them will go early as well, but you're going to be heading past this first DRS zone into turn 1, a 90-degree medium speed left-hander heading towards corners 2 and 3. They're both high speed right-handers as well, and then you're going to be heading towards these next set of curves, a few curves which I tend to bottle it in league racing as well around here as well, keeping it nice and tidy at some places as well, but you can see how much speed already Kryptonite is taking on those medium tyres as well, which shows that there is little margin for error in these cars as well. If you mess up 1 point, you're probably going to end up in a war as well. These next set of corners as well, I particularly like as well, because it's quite narrow as well. You'll be going at pretty much similar speeds to what we see around Monza at the Temple of Speed as well. We're not racing at Monza this season, but he's, well, almost going to be at 200 miles per hour here, coming up to past almost into turn 24 as he clips that left-hand curve as well. Purple sector 2. I'm sure the game is probably sort of telling us porcupines at the moment, but you never know, it could be not lying, as Cohen has retired from the session. That is, I don't know where he's binned actually. I think in sector 1 where he's binned it. We'll keep an eye on Kryptonite as he ends off in the final sector. Turn 27 he goes. Another prime overtaking opportunity up to the line, and the medium time is going to be a 1:27.6. So decent lap time for him, and Jack's best medium lap time was about 2 tenths slower than Kryptonite. Cohen would have been on the lap, but he crashed out, so that is his qualifying over.
Yes, he's done that, I think, on the exit turn 3 and 4 chicane. And so that is a car down in qualifying already. Someone who didn't have a time on the board. And now means you've got 14 to go for the rest of this. And again, it might allow more people to consider qualifying on the mediums if they fancy it. Kryptonite did look a decent lap, but I guess the tyres obviously can't make up for the whole deficits that you now have with the Pirelli's being so different. But I was probably committed from him. It's good to see anyway. But I'm expecting that medium to probably not work for most people. It depends if more crash out, but we'll keep our eye on it as we look to see who else is on laps. Tom's out there. Obviously, he's second fastest at the moment. I'm trying to see who's furthest along with a lap, though. See if we can catch someone closest to the end. And I think actually it might well be Tom, so we'll keep our eye on
Tom's
him.
invalidated.
He's invalidated at the end of the first sector, so that makes that a little bit pointless for him. He might learn a few things on the lap, but really keeping it valid was so important. But that's what happens when you go full send through those S's. It really is. They come at you, and you've got to be pitch perfect. It's the most fun track on the game, I'd say, but probably the most difficult at the same time. But once you get it all working brilliantly, you're going to get a super pole lap. But you've got to make sure you get it right. Luckily, he has a good banker though, so I suppose he could afford that on his middle run. Just as long as that doesn't happen again on the final run, as we see Ricky heading through now. No indication how quick this lap is. It was a purple first sector, but the middle sector didn't actually see anything pop up, so we'll see if this can topple Baraka's time. As he heads through the last corner, in fact he might even get a bit of a toe off Baraka, who's just in front. This might give an extra mile an hour or two, but instead he's going to go for the inside line, the shortest line to the finish, and he goes into P6. He made nearly half a second on that lap, did Ricky, so good stuff from him. Kazizzle's been in the wall, no front wing, so that's not going to be a lap finish for him. He will crawl back into the pits. Dino is into second place, and so the Alpine's looking relatively strong here so far. And Louis just started a lap, Andreas started a lap, Devon is up in his middle sector. It's looking possibly like this could be fighting for the front row, if not pole position as it stands, so we'll keep our eye on him. Baraka heading through the first sector, we'll catch up with him as he heads closer to the end of his lap, of course, because he is still the pace setter. And frying the final corner, Devon will go for that inside line on the left hand side. DRS open. Will he be able to find that extra sort of 10th he needs to go P1? No. He's just about nicks into the little gap, which is just a 10th behind P1. 5 drivers in that gap. Baraka, Dino, Tom, Louis and himself. So certainly seeing the close times out there, huh? But look at this. Baraka's about to blow them all out of the water. This is incredible. 3/10 up already in the middle sector. Can he stick this on pole? Because this will be a fantastic benchmark heading into the final runs. It may be the best time already. Let's see. As he comes up to the line, Valentine has put his cards on the table. Baraka, surely there's improvement there as well, but not in the last sector. Lost out there. So Valentine, the pace setter, Baraka with time to find that last sector.
I was watching a little bit of Baraka's lap and I saw that he derated before he got to the line, so he wasn't using his ERS efficiently on his lap, which can be quite difficult around Jeddah due to the high speed nature. Not as difficult as Austria because there's more braking zones compared to Austria, but there is a lot of the track where you could take it full throttle. I would say turns 18 to 22 could be taken at full throttle as well, and then you got more technical corners after that, and there's high speed right handers at the start of the first sector as well, so there's not many places where you can save on the laps, so we probably see more people that will derate as well, but maybe that's what's lost Baraka some time in P2. He's currently leading the standings at the moment by quite a considerable gap, and hopefully he'll keep it there. But we've still got more people on laps, one of which is Kryptonite, who DNF'd last week, looking for some sort of redemption as he starts, he goes into the second sector. It was a few 100s clear of his previous best at the moment, so not looking too bad. But again, I was not expecting it to be this close. I thought Austria was close. Jeddah is even more close, which shows that these guys definitely want to do round here and get the practice in. I said last week, if you did well in around Austria, you don't have to do as well around Jeddah, but if you haven't done well around the last 2 tracks, Jeddah is pretty much the track where you have to do well, really. Like Kryptonite and the people that DNF last week. Baraka had some trouble as well last week, surprisingly as well. Had his worst result of the season, and surely, him being in P2, he will need to find more time on his final run. We've seen it on a few occasions this season, haven't we, where usually these middle laps have been enough, and Valentine, it could be enough for pole position, but we could see someone that surprised us that could go into the 1 25s as Louis stays in P3 as Kryptonite comes across the line on this first soft run into P4.
Yeah, just off the back of Louis there, but it still feels like Baraka and Valentine at the minute are in that league of their own. But you can see that Jax is going to have the track all to himself, so we'll see what he can do. Obviously, we know he's got the pace on the street tracks. Monaco isn't exactly the same as Jet as he actually comes into the pits. 3.5 minutes to go. Might be a bit of a tight squeeze to get back out there, but yes, as I say, Jax won in Monaco, so we know he can do well on those street tracks. But yeah, not if he's in the pits, so hopefully he can get back out and to the line in time. I think that would mean that the likes of Kazizel and Tom would be the ones starting their final laps first. And in fact, Tom is starting his now. And he was also particularly good at Monaco. Again, I know it was a different sort of street track, but he nearly dominated that whole event until he crashed into the Ferrari at the chicane. But we know he's got some pace, and we'll see if he can use it here.
Yes, he actually got pole in Monaco as well, so he is known to do well in street circuits. He DNF'd last week in Austria, so that surely suggests that he needs to work a little bit more to improve his pace on high-speed tracks, as Tom has invalidated his lap, so unless he backs off, he may not have time to go again. And obviously Ty Dake is not too bad compared to previous tracks, but compared to Austria, it's a little bit more difficult. So I will see probably Tom going out again. We'll have to wait and see. And that just leaves everybody else scrambling out for their last few laps, which gives us a great opportunity to talk through the standings. So Baraka, as I said, leading on 61 points. Devon in second on 38. Then we've got Sandra, who's now in F1, on 32 points, joint with Valentine, joint third. Fifth place is Tom with 31. Jat is sixth on 30. Then we have CC Brain seventh on 28. Then we got 8 is Legend, 9th is Kazizel, 10th is Andrea, and we've got 11th is Dino with 20. I'm trying to read the points. It's too hard to read. 12th is Louis. Then we got Ricky, Kryptonite, Bolin, Patch 9. A few drivers are not here tonight, as you probably noticed. Then we have Cohen, Elting, Alexis, Azzy and Yannick. A few people yet to score in the drivers. And in the constructors, Mercedes are leading by 9 points over Aston Martin. And obviously due to Aston Martin's win last week with Kazizel, Aston Martin have closed the gap due to Mercedes not having a particularly good race last week. But now since everyone has just started their final laps, let's get this final stage of qualifying underway.
So Devon just under a 10th up on his best first sector. We'll see how the momentum continues in the middle. All looks pretty good. An onboard lap round here always is incredible to watch because it is just full send. I wonder where you get all the big gaps from, but I suppose this is why you might end up finding some gaps being a lot closer than others, as it was full send through the last proper chicane. And now it's all about getting yourself ready for the final braking zone at the hairpin. Don't do what Verstappen did. Make sure you get it turned in nicely to the apex and get a good exit. No wheel spin. Baraka, that's going to be potentially a little bit of trouble, because he's parked it on the line. I don't know what he's put it there for. And Devon's actually going to go straight to the pits because it ruins preparation for our next lap as well. That's 2 or 3 tenths down the drain. It could have been front row instead. Baraka has sort of ruined that for Devon. So the stewards might get a bit interested in that one. Andrea crosses the line. He goes third fastest. We've got Red Bull behind starting the lap. And then you're going to have Kazizel coming through. And he's going again. Tom's into the pits. A lot of people actually not getting the laps right here on their final runs. And once again, are we going to see that the middle runs end up being the better ones? Of course, the big hitters haven't actually finished their runs yet. We've got certainly the top 6 out there. Most of them are still to do another lap. So we'll keep an eye on them. The first one will be Dino. But before that is his teammate Ricky. As he comes through. DRS again. 7 tenths off at the moment. There should be improvement here, and he goes up to P3. Let's see where his teammate is going to, because he's finding time as well. It's going to be a similar sort of lap, and he now goes P3. Further behind, we're going to have Louis going through, but first his teammate Jax, who's gone up into 11th. That might be good for strategy, but not exactly in terms of pure qualifying pace. We've got Yannick crossing the line. He's making improvements up into 6th. And Louis, He was up there before, he's back up there now in 4th. And so, how is Valentine going to do? He has invalidated, so he's not going to be able to do another lap time. However, his P1 time is holding because Baraka has also invalidated. And it means we're looking at Kryptonite, who's on a slow lap, and CC Braid, who's in the pits. And that means that Kazizel's the only one who can stop this pole position happening. So let's see, as he comes up to the line, he's not going to do so. He's only going to go P13. And that means that Valentine, with that second run, once again, proving to be the pole position run.
Valentine has got the most pole positions out of anyone this season in F2. The only win he got was at the start of the season, and that wasn't at pole position as well. So for Valentine, he's going to hope he could stay there in P1, because in street circuits, mainly Monaco, you can't overtake, whereas in Jeddah, as we found in the other tiers, a lot easier to overtake. So Valentine's got to probably defend for his life. A big gap actually to P2 for Baraka as well, but it's quite close between Dino, Louis, Ricky, Andrea and Yannick. Pretty much everybody else, apart from obviously Valentine, who's dominating qualifying, they're quite close together. So without Valentine, it would be a close qualifying. So Valentine is on pole, Baraka in P2, Dino in P3, Louis in P4, then we got Ricky, Andrea, Yannick, Kryptonite, Tom and Devon. They'll be starting on the soft tyres if the race starts dry, which is more than likely going to be. And people that have free tyre choice are CC Brain, Jax, Kazizel, Azzy and Cohen. So those are your qualifying results. But before we go into pretty much the race, I'd just like to say that this race is sponsored by Grid Rival, a new Formula 1 Fantasy League game that has unmatched research tools, simple team management with a new contract system, and detailed performance data with lots of engaging social features. So if you want to find out more, you can join our PSGL League on Grid Rival by using the affiliate link in the description below. So thank you to Grid Rival for sponsoring this league. And now we're just going to wait for the race, which I do not have a clue who's going to win. We've seen Valentine has won a race this season. Could Valentine be the first person to get a second win this season? No one has won twice. There's always been someone that's won different in the last 6 races. So we hope we get a 7th different winner, but pretty much the only ones that could do it are pretty much in the top 2. So we'll have to wait and see.
Anyone can win this thing tonight, I suppose. Depends on what accidents you have happen as well. It's a super high speed track. Any little mistake can have big consequences, and so will it be a Monaco style race where we've got a lot of attrition, perhaps? Will it be safety cars getting involved? Will the strategy end up being called into question? There's a lot of different variables for this one. But let's hope for Valentine's sake it's a simple pole to victory. It doesn't sound very likely around this track, does it? But you never know.
Anything can happen in Formula 1 and in PSGL PSF2, and it usually does. Let us know your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to be winning this race. And you can't see it at the moment, but it's looking like it's a dry race, luckily. Now, you notice in the qualifying session it was set to midnight, and the race is pretty much the same to replicate what it was in real life, because in qualifying usually it's set at a different time of day compared to what it was in real life, which is quite weird, but that's why we wanted to replicate that as well. So everyone is going to be getting their setups up as well. Just because it's a 15 car grid, it doesn't mean we're not going to have any battles. We will have some battles, I'm almost certain of it as well. It's going to be a one-stop race, and from what we've seen from the other tiers last week on PC and PS, it should be a soft to medium strategy by the looks of things, unless we get a safety car, which is usually quite common in real life. Haven't seen many on some of the PC tiers actually, but on the PlayStation tiers it could be more likely. But if drivers put more practice in, hopefully we'll get no safety cars. And my strategy has been proved right. Everyone outside the top 10 has gone for the mediums, and from what I've seen last week actually in PC, the alternate strategy seems to be the very popular strategy, and some people can actually get a podium from the alternate strategy. And so watch out for CC Brain, because he's in the alternate strategy pole position. Could he get a podium? Maybe Jats could get another podium as well. We will see. And if only 5 people on the alternate strategy tonight, it throws the race wide open for pretty much everybody.
Yes, it does, and it will be interesting to see how easy the overtaking actually is, if anyone's able to get through if they're on lower tyres to get up there, and how quickly the front tyres are going to fall apart. Because this should be the fastest race of the season, bar none really. So will tyres last long enough? I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if the soft runners at the minute still don't have the best strategy. But it all depends, I suppose, on who has safety cars, who has just the right timing for it all. But I should really stop trying to predict things, because we'll always end up wrong with these. But we'll see. But
Well,
this lap 1 should be very interesting indeed, regardless. But that run down to turn 1, we saw it in real life, caused quite a lot of drama. And as far as I'm aware, the DRS zones on the game are completely different to what they are in real life. Don't ask me why. No one knows. But yeah, I wonder if that will create some sort of different element to what we saw in real life as well, because there are definitely places in real life where there was no DRS where there is in the game, and I can't explain it.
Yeah, I think they're changing a bit of the Jeddah track in real life, because in 2 weeks we're going to go, well, the F1 drivers are going to be going there in real life as well. So hopefully they've changed it a little bit for the better. But yeah, I don't understand why the DRSs are different, but they may have done last minute changes in real life. I'm not entirely sure, but ask the game developers, not me. Or Owen, without the shadow of a doubt. But anyway, we're about to get started with 25 laps of Jeddah. We'll see who comes out on top. Is it going to be Valentine? Is it going to be Baraka? Is it going to be somebody else? We'll find out in 25 laps time.
And so we wait for the lights then, here in Jeddah. As I say, in real life, this has caused all sorts of drama, but it's Valentine on the left, Baraka on the right. That's your front row. All 5 lights are on, and we are away in Saudi Arabia. Who's going to get that run towards turn 1? Who's brave enough to throw me out the inside? None of the leaders are going for it. They're staying line or start. Further up, we've got a little bit of side-by-side. The Alpine of Ricky nearly hitting Louis Ryan there at turn 2, but they all stay facing the correct direction. No accidents a la Perez and Leclerc through 2 and 3. And so they all are sticking to the road. Good start from everybody. Good to see the clean racing. But Valentine is already making a decent gap, and he's got himself away into the lead.
Yes, he's doing a great job so far. The medium runners pretty much staying as they are between CC Brain and Jax as well. Pretty much not much has changed. As a matter of fact, even though the Alfa Romeo of Kazidl is trying to get past Jax here into this tight blind corner. There's so many blind corners around this track as well, so you've got to know your braking zones very, very quickly as well. So Kazidl is pretty much under pressure more than any other drivers so far to try and get past. But wait until the DRS at detection points happen in a few laps time. We'll probably see a few more moves, and I'm surprised there hasn't been many moves so far in the first lap. People taking it cautious because we've seen what happened in real life as well, and we could see quite a few penalties which could change things. Kryptonite was looking like he was going to be passed by Tom there at that moment, but doesn't look like. Oh, he's going to try and get past now on the right hand side, heading towards turn 27 then. In the final corner we got a yellow flag, and I think it's Cohen and Azzy that came together, so our first yellow flag trouble of the race. But Tom does get past Kryptonite up into 8. He could get past another car into turn 1. He could get past Yannick. Tom is absolutely on fire at the moment on those softs. I think he was started the lowest out of the softs actually. So far he's doing a pretty good job, but the people who are not doing a great job, they're the biggest losers, Cohen and Azzy. Azzy unfortunately is going into the pit, so he's compromised his strategy a lot around here.
Yeah, I didn't see exactly what was happening. I know earlier on in the lap, Cohen was all over the back of Azzy and nearly had him off at 8 and 9, but yeah, something's gone wrong in that last corner. I'm hoping there hasn't been some sort of dive bomb incident, because it was the entire front wing that was knocked off Azzy. But I suppose we will find out in time. But either way, it's put him to the back of the grid. He's hoping for a safety car now, and Cohen's just hoping to catch up to the pack. But as you say, Tom appears to be the one making the moves early on. He's got to be careful about his ERS. He is managing it relatively well, but he's just got to make sure he doesn't get a bit too trigger happy in the early stages. Although I'm sure we'll be doing that. Yannick, pretty big corner cut at the 22-23 chicane. I don't think the game would even allow for that. I know it's pretty lenient there, but I don't think something like that would be allowed. So they've got to be really careful on those warnings there as Tom goes down the inside to the final corner. This should be a relatively simple move, but wasn't quite enough grip on the inside of that last corner. Probably less than he was expecting. And he might have to try it again in towards turn 1, and this is where the ERS is starting to go down, because he's now into the 30s, and I'm telling you, Yannick is not going to give that one up down there. So Tom has lost a lot of ERS trying to get through here. Luckily, he'll have 3 DRS zones to try and build this all back up again, but the moves aren't happening. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid, Valentin has not been able to break 1 second yet on Baraka, who's absolutely staying in this, and will get his first dose of DRS here. Like I say, not a DRS zone in real life. No real chance of an overtake at the end of the straight, so I'm not too sure why Codemasters have put it there, but that's what their drivers are having to deal with. As I say, that Tom makes an overtake in that DRS zone, so I'm completely incorrect. But anyway, we'll ignore my incompetence. Tom's up to P7, and it looks like Dino is going to fall out. He's just about trying to stay in here. Baraka's putting all the pressure on Valentin, and if Dino doesn't try and keep up with that, and he's using his ERS to do so, that he'll end up falling behind. These top 2 will be fighting all on their own, and I think we might be on for a change of position here, because Baraka is certainly pushing here. And if I was Valentin, I'd honestly be letting him go here and just nick the DRS zone on the exit of the final corner. So that's what's happening now. Baraka's taking the lead of the race, and you'll see now Valentin surely will come from this final corner. There's the other detection zone, and he'll be straight back on the DRS, and he'll be straight back past him into turn 1. And so you're going to see the game of cat and mouse. That's to be played out for the rest of this race. And unfortunately, during all that, they've still been able to keep Dino in their DRS. So while they've both been sharing the DRS around, they've not been able to shake off Dino.
With those 2 keeping on fighting like that, that is going to allow Dino to actually catch up. So Dino's probably thinking, keep battling, please. I would like to stay in this fight as well. And it's also brought Louis into this fight as well. But Louis going to hope there is a safety car, because he's got the yellow warning light of fuel already. Quite a few drivers are actually underfueled for this race, thinking there could be a safety car, but you can't really promise on a safety car. So you've got to try and balance it as much as you can as well. And we could see some more changes up further field as well, like Tom did earlier. Cazizzel gained 2 places, so the biggest gainer so far would be the Aston Martin drivers. And Cohen gained 1 position from Azir as well, but that could be investigated by the stewards. We've got Devon on the back of Kryptonite as well for P9 of this race. He also started on the soft compound tyres. The guys on the mediums not making any edgeway at the moment, but they will probably wait until they go on the soft later to make some headway, but they don't really want to be increasing the gap to, well, pretty much getting the gap back from these guys, because otherwise there's no chance that they're not going to be at the front. But we'll see. Devon, he's going to try and go for a cheeky move then into the final corner. I think we're going to probably see another cat and mouse, but a little bit more creative from Devon there. Nice move from him, but I'm sure Kryptonite would have the DRS. We've got the battle for the lead.
Yeah, Valentin, it's not really a fight, these two. What they're doing is they're using the DRS to both pull away from Louis now, who's got himself past Dino. Dino, who just fell out of DRS. The first moment he fell out of DRS, he gets overtaken straight away. I suppose Baraka and Valentin were sort of hoping they'd fight a bit more. But I'm telling you, those front 2 are not fighting. They're trying to be clever here, because what they're doing is Baraka's getting the big toe on the run to the final corner, which is obviously something that Louis hopefully wouldn't be getting from his point of view, and then Valentin will get the toe back down the main straight. And what they're trying to do is pull away from the pack by not using their ERS but using the DRS to create the slipstream on the straight line speed that they would have managed if they'd been using it. So it saves the ERS, it gets the gap up, and it seems to be working, at least because they're not under any pressure. But Louis might be a more sort of present threat, although his ERS is quite low. So we'll see how this all plays out. Will we see this swap for position happen again? Is Baraka close enough this time? I'd be surprised if he gets it through there, but I suppose it would say a lot about their strategy if he did. As they head through to the final corner, I don't think he's going to risk anything there, because they're not interested in racing each other properly yet. That's really going to be safe for the end of the race. But this is a different dynamic now, because Baraka's got both DRS zones. And we head down towards turn 1. Will Valentin now just pull into the toe, and he'll take the extra DRS on this lap then, as Baraka comes through and retakes the track position at the front. And I imagine this is Valentin's chance now, just to save a little bit of ERS himself. You can see it's working. They're both in the 50s and 60s, while Louis, even if he were to get close, he's not going to get past because he hasn't got the straight line speed or the ERS to do it.
Nope, he does not. And Louis is trying to aim for his best result of the season because there's some races where he's been inconsistent, but he's been practicing a little bit more for Jeddah, he said. He feels like he's more confident compared to other tracks where there's some drivers that haven't been as confident about Jeddah, but Louis is probably going to hope that any of those two make a mistake, and that's very unlikely at the moment. But Baraka and Valentine, they are our main championship rivals, with the likes of Santry moving up to F1. Devon, who is currently P2 in the championship, nowhere to be found at the moment in P9, so it's really up to Baraka and Valentine to try and gain on Devon after this race potentially as well. And Valentine could potentially go for a similar move. This is probably going to be a ding-dong battle pretty much until the pit stop. So the question is, who wants to be ahead on the pit stops and who wants to gain a DRS? I think Louis doing the right thing, maybe potentially to stay back, but surely he would want to capitalise if any of those two start to fall back a little bit, as Valentine does get past on the final corner this time once again. And I think Baraka could get the move once more into turn one. It should be easy, does it? Because Valentine has no DRS. I mean, this is what the main overtake we're seeing at the moment, is pretty much DRS overtakes into turn one pretty much, but we haven't seen much creative overtakes from some drivers yet. But Baraka is in the lead once again. And speaking of overtakes, Cazidle and CC Brain were having a nice battle there. Cazidle up into 11th place, and still I believe he is your leading medium runner. CC Brain was, now it is Cazidle in 11th place.
No one's really making too many mistakes in this top 9, and that's why they're all still in the DRS train already as we head into lap 7. I think they might be starting to look at pit stops soon, I'm imagining, maybe sort of lap 10 onwards, if not a little bit early if they fancy a bit of an undercut. But yeah, the trains are all just sort of being well managed right now. I think the drivers in the best sort of positions in here would be the ones, I suppose, with the highest DRS, like Dino, who's gone behind Louis, and since then has been saving the DRS up very nicely indeed. And obviously the front two have been doing the same thing with each other. Louis got to save a little bit more, else he might find himself in possibly a bad spot when the pit stops come around, and he ends up sort of needing to really get the performance. And in fact, Dino's probably going to start trying to pass Louis again now, isn't he? And that's a lot of DRS. He saved so much. They're interested in fighting now. That's a fight happening. Is anyone going to try and move on Valentine into the last corner? Because they're closing right up on that now. And the top 4 are so close that this is where pit stops might happen. And that's why Dino's into the pits now. So he's saved the DRS. He's used it. He's now pitting as the top 2 again swap positions. It sort of keeps them, like I say, a bit protected from what's happening behind. And it means Louis can't really attack. So Dino, having got to within a second of the leader, has now pitted. He can come back out on track. He will have, 4/5 of his ERS to use on the out lap. Will he be in a decent position to take advantage? No, not with a penalty he won't. He's gone straight off the track, straight out of the pit lane. And that is the difference between a race victory and, well, we see how close this train is. He could be dropped to the back of it with a penalty. It's a frustrating moment for him, that, because I think this could work for him, but not like that. Let's see how this works out again then. So Baraka, again, using ERS just to keep in touch with Valentine. He doesn't want to waste it all. I wonder if he's now planning a pit stop. I wonder if all 3 of these guys, or even Tom, in fact, pretty much all of the top 8 are all from different teams. They can all actually pit at the same time if they want to. There'll be no worries about stacking. And I'm wondering if Baraka is going to make the move now and then dive for the pits. So this is Baraka retaking the lead. I'm going to have to imagine that after this, he's going to pull straight to the left-hand side and get into the pit lane in the lead, which would be a decent end to his first stint. But yes, he will pit. Valentine doesn't follow him. None of them are following him, actually, apart from Andrea, Ricky, Kryptonite, Yannick. But Devon, Tom, Louis and Valentine, they've stayed out, which is interesting. That Baraka doesn't get held up despite all the cars coming past him. And let's see where Dino is going to be, despite picking up the penalty on that last lap. I'm imagining he's used all of his ERS effectively. And will he be able to fight with the Mercedes, or will he not need to because he'll be ahead? He'll be ahead. Let's see. Will Baraka find a way back through? Not quite, but if only there wasn't a penalty for Dino, because it has worked out. It's worked out in terms of track position.
Yes, we've seen on a few occasions where there's been an undercut-overcut debate around Jeddah, but around here today at the moment, Dino has proved that the undercut does work. And yes, I felt gutted that he got that penalty, to be honest, but at least he can now try and stretch that gap, so it doesn't matter if he got a penalty or not. So that's what he's got to focus on as well. And he's also got to worry about when other people pit as well, trying to defend that position as well. This is not good news for Valentin and Louis, seeing that Dino is now ahead of Baraka, because that's more cars to try and get past to get maybe a win or even on to the podium, as Tom gets past Louis up into P2 on track. So Tom wants a sniff at the podium here today as well, maybe a P4 as well. So Louis struggling a little bit, as we'll see in the medium runners swapping positions as well. Jack's getting past Kazizel into turn 27. I think CC Brain got past Kazizel a moment ago, but every other soft runner has come in, all four of them. So it'll be up to them to try and make sure that they make this overcut work. Dino's going to be the first one to pass, maybe, or maybe Baraka actually, as they make their way towards turn 1. That was a good move from Baraka. He needs to do that at the moment, but where's everyone else going to end up? It's still going to be quite close actually. Baraka just goes ahead of Valentin and Dino then as well. So the overcut did not work for Valentin and Tom. He's dropped down from first to third. So crucially, Baraka making that overtake in before the pit stops pretty much helped his race there, and Valentin, that overtake from Baraka did not help Valentin at all in the slightest, but Dino's undercut worked wonders. He just got to get past Baraka now, but knowing how Baraka races and with them still being close together, I doubt that he's going to increase that gap. So I think Dino has just got to hope everyone else behind him just falls apart.
Yellow flags. Yannick has gone into the wall. This could help the medium runners with a safety car coming out. So the three of them who are out there at the minute, Jack, CC Brain and Kazizel, I suppose they could take their pit stop now, but it would be onto hard compound tyres unless they can get softs to the end. They'd have, what, 4 laps under safety car. I suppose you could argue that they could give it a go, but if they don't pit now, they'll fall to the back, I suppose. But I suppose you could say they'd do that anyway. But let's see, will they pit or will they stay out? I suppose, in a way, they've got nothing to lose by pitting. It's just what tyre they put on. This has put Baraka back into the race lead. And I'm telling you what, Valentin was so nearly put into the wall. Did you see it when he came out of the pit? It was so close. So I think he's probably lucky that he's still in this thing. But all these guys get a chance to save their ARS back up, and they have all gone for sauce. So they're confident that they can get those sauce to the end. And they'll be right on the back of the train when they get out onto track. And so this is where the alternate strategy comes into play. And Jax will be feeling quite happy with this, I'd imagine. As will Andrea, Azzy and Cohen, because they'll all be able to pit and get back into the running.
Yes, according to our tyre data, the tyres last 13 laps under 4 green flag conditions. And we got obviously an extra few laps under safety car with slow pace. So yeah, I think they made the right decision for going into the pits for some soft tyres. Andrea, I'm questioning a little bit. Probably he hasn't read up the tyre data as well, which people are encouraged to do a bit of research on, but maybe he hopes the tyres do start to die towards the end there potentially as well. But softs can go the distance pretty much from now. On 4 green flag conditions, you have to wait pretty much till the end of lap 12, but right now they should be fine. So Jax could be the first person to get a second win, maybe Baraka, maybe Valentin, we don't know, as Yannick is really gutted with himself as well. Cohen is into the pits. Goes out of the pits, and he's on soft as well, so that makes everyone from the top 9 downwards apart from Andrea on the softs. 3 drivers on penalties, that's not helped them in the slightest. That's going to allow them to find it even harder to make sure they can get within 3 seconds and pretty much stay in their positions. They've got to pretty much try and defend for their lives here, but Baraka is in a decent position right now to control the race start. Once the safety car comes in, we're just waiting for Azzy and Cohen though to catch up to the safety car, and then we could get underway. I was not expecting a safety car to happen this early on, but we've got one. So I wonder if we'll change the dynamics of this race. Will we see that, like you said, the alternate strategy overtake the guys on the mediums? Well, we will see. I wonder if the mediums should have gone for softs as well, but they may have not had any soft left.
There's a few changes for position. I wonder if there's a pit stop happening. So we've got Kryptonite coming through, and he's going to stick a new set of softs on. So Yeah, this is interesting. I suppose Kryptonite's weighed up the options and decided that, actually, do you know what? Might as well be on new softs if I'm going to be on the back of the train anyway. So that's an interesting decision there from Kryptonite. Because there's no sort of damage to worry about. He's decided that he would rather be behind those soft runners, but at least on the softs. Which would suggest that he thinks these guys will be doing quite a lot of moving up in position. Once the DRS gets involved, though, I don't think it'll be as easy as they maybe think. But, well, we'll see. I wonder if Andrea's going to be sitting there thinking, should probably pit again at the end of this lap if I can. And get myself onto a new set of softs, because, or even an old set of softs, just get softs on. You don't want to be stuck in the middle of this on mediums, because you'll just get nowhere.
Andrea will probably fall to the back anyway, not gonna lie, with those medium tyres, because the delta between the softs and the mediums is quite massive around here, about a second between the softs and the mediums. So Andrea will be in 14th position. I'm calling that right now, because everyone is just gonna probably fly and he'll probably get swamped. So Andrea won't lose anything by pitting now. Really, he'll pretty much gain from it, because he's got guys on the mediums from the first 7 places as well, trying to fend off positions. But we've got the guys on the softs who are going to try and take so many risks as well. So Andrea could be in a fighting position otherwise. Otherwise, he's just a sitting duck, unfortunately. But he's doing quite decent in the championship anyway. He probably was not expecting to be where he is at the moment. Top 10 score points in PSGL. So he needs to get up at least 1 place and then he'll be in the points. And we will see what he can do from P11 on a grid on a different set of tyres compared to everybody else. Safety car is in, so it would be too late for Andrea to come in, unfortunately. But Baraka is now going to be controlling the pack up until the safety car restart line. When's he going to go?
Well, he hasn't really got much he can do apart from go now. I think he's trying to go straight away, and he is away. So Louis had a good restart. He's going to make a couple of positions up here. He's 3 wide here with Tom and with Valentine, and he's going to get through both of them into turn 1. Really nice stuff there. Valentine's been crowded out a little bit, and he spins into the wall, and there goes part of his front wing, and he's going to be calling all the way to the back of the grid. He's going to lose so much from this, and he's fallen right to the back. No points as it stands then for Valentine. Baraka will be very happy to see that will happen, and well, it's all come through because of a super aggressive restart from Louis. But it was a very successful restart. He's right in the frame for this victory now. If he can get himself past Dino, then he should be in a good spot, because obviously that 3-second penalty for Dino is going to be a real killer for him. As you see Devon and Ricky going side by side. This is really close stuff, wheel binding as they go. But Devon gets himself through and up into P5. Meanwhile, soft runner, Jax, here he comes. He's got to get through these guys as quickly as possible as well. He saw Valentine in the wall. He can see the opportunities in front of him. Ricky, is he not going to just sort of sit back there? He's just going to make sure that Jax can't get at him and Devon for now, but surely it's only a matter of time. Is Dino going to try and go for any sort of move early on? Because if he wants to have a good result, he really needs to be leading this pack, I suppose, and just hope that he can pull away. Because Izzle and CC3 and 2 drivers fighting away, and we're 3 wide again as Jax goes down the inside. He will get Devon, but not quite Ricky. Devon's used all of his ERS. He might get swamped like mad on this main straight. As we see Jax up into the top 5. He's making really nice progress. And here comes Kazizzle as well. He's up in those soft tyres into P6, ahead of Ricky too. So, good stuff. Here comes CC Brain now, trying to make it work on the soft compound tyres. Nearly contact with Devon again. He's having a lot of wheel binding on this restart. But it's been hectic stuff. And these soft runners, if they keep at that, they will be getting up near the front very soon indeed.
They're pretty much in the same train now as well, and with them being a second faster, I'm almost certain that Jax is probably going to try and go for the move, but it's like some people would want track position. Just because they're on the fastest tyre doesn't mean you can get the position. It's how you control the pace as well and manage your ERS as well, because if you run out of ERS at certain points, then you'll lose way too much power as well. ERS management and time management is key around this track, because in real life the tyres could get very, very hot, and on this game the tyres could get very, very hot as well. So pretty much that's what they got to cope with the soft compound tyres. Jack's doing very, very well actually, trying to catch up to the front two. Baraka almost breaking out of DRS to Dino, so Baraka doing what he wanted to do at the moment, as Louis tries to get past Dino actually, as we head towards turn 27 then. And could Tom go and make it 3 wide potentially? He's right on the middle of this as well. But look at this. There's also Jackson Kazizel that's joining in the party too. This could be 4 wide as Dino is in the pits then. He decides to go onto the soft compound tyres. I don't know why. He might have got a bit of damage, but we're seeing Tom maybe trying to tuck it in around the outside, which he does not. He stays into P3, still doing a decent job, but he does know he's got his teammate Kazizel trying to fight like mad. So what will the Aston Martin pit crew do? Will they prioritise Tom or will they prioritise Kazizel? But Kazizel is just looking so much quicker. We need to look at the lap times in order to find out about this. But Jax could be on for pretty much more than a podium, if not a win. We are seeing pretty much, apart from Louis, the whole of the top 5 pretty much have won a race so far this season. Will someone make it 2 wins this season? I think it's looking likely at the moment as Dino picks himself another penalty. His race has not gone the best, has it?
Shame as well, because the potential was there. But him pitting and the fact that it's medium runner sitting behind Baraka at the minute, it's given him the perfect opportunity to break out of DRS, because it just gives him a little bit of respite for now. And if he can keep this gap for a while, the fighting will surely happen behind. So this is his opportunity to just secure some sort of track position as Tom pulls through into P2. And surely Jax is going to follow his Tom through, because it's his teammate that he's coming up against. And he does not want to end up in any sort of incident with that, because I think they both probably know Jax will end up being quicker. If anything, you want Jax to be pulling you along, but Jax is just letting those two get on with it. And will Louis go back through? No, interestingly, into turn 1. In fact, Tom goes right up in Baraka, so I guess Tom did get the DRS in the end. And there was Baraka's chance to pull the gas. I suppose that's just how hard it is right here. You just can't do it. And so that top 4, they'll be all on that DRS train again, and Kazizel of course in there too. CC Brain will almost certainly join that also. So I suppose you'll have all the way down to P11, possibly 12 will end up in this train, which should be pretty unbreakable.
Yes, I'm pretty much surprised that they all have the same ability around this track. Usually since the new track on this game first on the game in November, we thought they would have mixed ability around there because some people had time to practice, some people not, but pretty much they all have the capability to win pretty much in this top 7. As Dino goes into the pits again, Ricky has left the session, don't know why, he's probably disconnected, but Devon gets past the AI car of Ricky up into P7, so he's going to find it hard to get past the soft runners. Meanwhile, Addy and Kryptonite both get past Ricky's go, so there is now there. This is going to be good actually for Jax. This could be a chance to get past his teammate. And we've got Andrea getting past Ricky once more, because Izzle as well is deciding, you know what, if you can't get past, I try to get past. That was a nice move from Kazizel there into turn 27. I think Kazizel could get Louis here into turn 1. He's got the ERS to do it. Is he going to go for the right-hand side? He's going to try and cover off the inside line. And he almost touches Louis there, because Kazizel up into 3rd. So we've got a Mercedes, Aston Martin, 3 Mercedes-powered cars in the top 3. Louis in between himself and of course Jax. So Jax not doing very, very well to try and close in on the top 3, I would say. And he's on the softer tyres, so is Kazizel doing better on his tyres? It looks like he is, and I think he's more confident in making moves. Kazizel got the win last week. Could he make it 2 in a row? Surely not.
Well, he's certainly the favourite now, isn't he, in this position, because Jax just did not go for the move on his teammate, and it's cost him and his teammate the position to Kazizel. Tom was very close to taking the lead into turn 1, but for whatever reason he just decided he wasn't quite going to send it, which is a brave decision when he had 3 or 4 cars barreling into him, as the 2 Alfa Romeos nearly actually touch each other, but Jax does get through into 4th place. And so will Tom go through this time, or will he give his teammate the priority? I'm sure he doesn't really care who his teammate is, he just wants to win this race, and so he's going through on the inside. I think Baraka is about to lose 2 positions in one go here, as we see Kazizel also pull through on that same move. He taps his teammate though, and Baraka taps him, and the 2 Alfa Romeos will be all over this as well. And Tom's going to be under real siege on this main straight. Who's going to make a move? Surely the 2 teammates aren't going to hit each other, but you're going to see 3 wide almost into turn 1, and Baraka just slightly backing off there. almost allowed Jax through, as we see, in the lead now, because there's on those soft compound tires. But the DRS, that's what's going to keep the rest of these guys in this. So just because the soft runner is not at the front, doesn't necessarily mean you'll stay there, because the DRS, that's what holds this whole group together. And you'll see, Gizzle makes the gap now, but anything he's making up, Tom should have the potential to close in again on this DRS straight. And as long as he can get within a second before the next one, he may still be able to keep it good. But Gizzle has a few more traction zones, a few more chicanes that he can use to his advantage. And the race could be won here for him. Although his ERS, it has to be said, is quite low. And Jax hasn't been using his as much. He could sweep in here at the end. And that could be his sort of ace up his sleeve, which he is already using just to keep up with Baraka and Tom. And Gizzle isn't going to be able to get this ERS or this DRS gap away, so he is going to have to deal with these guys.
I would say watch out towards the end of the race as well. The softs will start to die, because even though they do last 13 laps, pretty much there will be pretty much almost at their sell-by date as well, and they'll be around about 50-60% as well, as we're seeing lots of free wide battles happening at the moment. We've got Baraka trying to fend off Jax. Jax is not liking this at all, because he knows he's faster. As he goes past Andrea, the two Haas cars are fighting together as well. This could be another free wide situation then, heading towards turn one. Baraka tries to go on the inside of both of them, which he does not, with Tom trying to cut back on Gizzle on the outside. Baraka, wow, that was quite stellar from Baraka there, up into P2 there, so he's now in between both of the Aston Martin drivers, which gives Louis some hope there in 5th position. Same with CC Brain as well, which could change quite massively. Another penalty added to Cohen's penalty list at the moment, so I think he's on about 3 or 6 seconds at this moment in time, but I'm quite surprised that Tom got under pressure. Gizzle spun! Gizzle spun under pressure. He spun by himself there. That is a shame.
Now, who did he hit? I'm pretty sure he knocked his teammate's front wing off as well. Or perhaps, it was Tom. So the two Aston Martins have collided for the second time on this lap. And this time, both of them lose out. That is a shocking incident. And it puts CC Brain now in a soup situation, because he's now the highest soft runner. He was able to sneak through Jax, who really had to. Tom is fighting Jax quite hard as well, which means that he can't to DRS, and he's really pushed in these next couple of laps. See Baraka, CC Brain, and it has to be said, Brain suddenly in a position. Gizzle absolutely cannot believe that. I don't know if anyone tapped him round. Perhaps he got a CC Brain follow him. And that's fantastic stuff as we see. Contact exit 2. And Baraka nearly losing the back end. Just decided to stay out despite the damage. So he's going to have to try and deal with this. I can't see him dealing with it, especially in these S's. He's going to have absolutely no grip whatsoever. And you can see Devin pushing him round the track. He's looking through on the inside. Legend. Round he goes. And Andrea, and I tell you what, we thought he might fall back. He's in top 5 now. Some good stuff from him as he pulls through as well and top. I think he should have pitted, to be honest. But I suppose if he doesn't lose, what is it? He needs to lose a point. But CC Brain now, he's in an interesting situation because he's keeping a decent gap to Baraka, who's under pressure from Jax. When does he pull the move? Because he, as it stands, is in the position to take this race into hand and do what he needs to do. Will he go for it nice? Will Jax finally get some overtaking done? A lot of questions in the last few laps here. An onslaught of cars. Here comes CC Brain, here comes Baraka, and Jax will just sit back and watch. And there's no way for CC Brain to get through. He boxed himself in turn 1, and he's not able to attack Louis. Baraka can't get him, and again Jax, he's got to take advantage of that. There was a good chance there. It's going to cost him the win if he sits there all the time.
Yes, this is nail-biting stuff towards the end of this race. Make sure you stay tuned in for this as well. We wouldn't have predicted Baraka to drop down this many positions at this moment in time. He was in first, now he's down to third as well. And the guys that won contention of winning like Jax is fallen by the wayside. We could have a 7th different winner here in PSGL F2, which I didn't think was going to happen. We thought it was going to be a second first person to get 2 different wins this season, but that surely may not happen at the moment. It's medium versus softs. Surely the mediums could come to life right now as the softs start to die. The crossover point, I would say, for the mediums is round about now as Tom has been passed by Devon and Cohen as well. So Cohen is back in this race as well. What a shame for Tom and Devon, who spun earlier on as well, as Dino set the fastest lap of the race, even though he's in last position right now. When was the last time CC Brain was calling off a alternate strategy masterclass? Season 26 in F2 in Japan, where he started 11th and he went on to win the race. Andrea gets past Azzy, Devon gets past Cohen. There's battles going everywhere, and make sure you stay tuned into the end, but watch out for CC Brain as he gets past Louis now. This could be a similar situation what we saw Valentina Baraka in the first couple of laps, as CC Brain is now your race leader, but for how much longer? As he's still in the fight. I don't know how he started last and he's up into 5th position, but he's going to drop down due to penalties anyway, but still on track. He's recovered quite a lot of positions there. I just don't know which way he's going to go. Jats technically is still in this, but CC Brain must hold his nerve to get his first win in a long time.
It's not easy this though. The 3 DRS zones make this so difficult to make a gap. You don't really want to be in the lead of this race until literally the final corner, and even then if you don't have a good exit you can get slipstreamed again. These DRS zones are making this race absolutely impossible to predict, because you can see CC Brain building the gap, building, but then Louis going to have 2 entire straights of DRS to catch back up, and so we're going to see a little bit of tactics here at some point as we head towards the last couple of laps. You know, you'll see people just, oh, I've made a mistake, I'm going to let someone through, oh look, I'm straight back past you. You know, they've got to really think about this as they head through and Dino retires from the race. So Louis, he's not fancying the overtaking into the final corner. Is he just going to settle in now and just let CC Brain run out of time? No, he's going to go for it. So he's going to go for it. As opposed to pressure from Baraka means that they can't sit back. And we go nearly 3 wide again. So this is such an interesting dynamic situation. You don't get this too often in league racing. And there's a big amount of contact for CC Brain, who's so nearly ended up in the wall. And again, Jax can't take advantage. So it's 2 soft runners behind 2 medium runners. But it's just such a unique situation. We're free to go. Any of these top 4 are easily still in the fight for the victory right now, because of the way ERS levels are. These 2 soft runners are looking decent, so is Baraka, but if they fight like we see Jax and CC Brain almost doing, it could end in tears. But else you'd get a consistent sort of strong advantage right here.
Yeah, exactly. At some point we thought that the soft runners were going to have the advantages. We thought the medium runners were going to have the advantages. Turn the tables pretty much every lap as well. So it's pretty much survival to the death, really, to be honest. And taking the risk quite cleanly as well, and only make the moves as you see fit. But sometimes you've got to be ambitious. This is what Jats is going to be doing right now. He's going to be hoping that the top 3 take some risk as we head towards lap 24 very, very soon. Haven't got long to go as they head towards turn 27 for the 3rd to last time in this race. It's still Louis that leads. He hasn't won a race at PSGL. Could be on for his first one, but Baraka could change that a little bit as he makes his way through towards turn 1. I'm sure CC Bray would have took advantage of that, but he does not. So Baraka stays ahead for now, but I wonder if Louis did that on purpose, knowing that he would have the DRS on the final lap as well for advantage. Maybe CC Brain could potentially do that as well. Those softs are starting to die. I can tell by the way that they're handling the traction on these cars. They're on the limits right now of puncture territory. If it was obviously full course green flags for the whole race, but they're probably still struggling. Anyway, hence the reason why obviously the soft runners earlier pitted quite early. So yeah, the soft runners seem to be losing their advantage that they had at the start of the race, which is allowing the medium runners just to pull away again, which is probably why they didn't pit again for softs.
Well, I think CC Brain as well is just saving ERS because you don't want to go for the move yet. So no. I think they're just sort of sitting there, using a bit of ERS to keep in touch, and Baraka still has the most, but he's still very much in DRS. He's absolutely fine. It's just about him and Jax picking the right moments here, because it's all going to close up as we get towards the final lap of the race. Baraka what's his plan then? Does he let these guys go and hope that he can pull back through, or is he going to have to properly fight it on this main straight? He's got 3 cars attacking him, and I think he is having to use more ERS to fight away. So we start the last lap. How many cars fancy overtaking him to turn 1? None of them. So Louis is going to sit here and wait. But look at CC Brain pulling the move on the inside. There's contact again. And side-by-side action. This is really going to help Baraka. This is what he was looking for, because they lost a little bit of time. And I think CC Brain, the penny might have dropped now for him, that actually you need to be the second car in line. But the fighting has put them a second behind Baraka. And now CC Brain has realised he's got to pass now on the inside. And this is going to need to be some final lap for him as he comes through into second place. And Louis, well, Louis' tactic isn't working because it's cost him, it's cost CC Brain, it's potentially cost his teammate as well. And we're going to need to see a ridiculously quick couple of corners here from CC Brain to try and get this through. And I don't think he's going to get it. The ERS is also still good for Baraka, so the win looks to be on the cards. We've got the 2 Alfa Romeos still closing in on each other. Surely there's going to be a bit of fighting there. And I'm sure people are going to be a little bit annoyed at Louis in this train, because it's not been played perfectly. It's been played pretty poorly, in fact, and it isn't even going to get Louis a podium at the end of it, because here comes Jax. He's been waiting the whole race for him to make an overtake. He's finally going to do it. Or is he? Because through goes Louis again, and they've hit each other. So they're not going to be able to get that sorted. Baraka had all the right ideas in the end. He crosses the line to win here in Saudi Arabia. CC Brain, Louis and Jax so close to each other, but the fighting at the start of the final lap has cost them dearly, because they should have been in that fight for the win and they weren't.
No, and that's pretty much cost them, all of them, their first, well, CC Brain and Louis, their first win of the season. Jax, his second win of the season. Cohen comes across the line in 9th, and then Ricky will get the last point. But Baraka has become the first person this season to, I actually need to check, I think he has won a race this season, to win 2 races this season. He won the first race in Portugal, and he has won the 7th race at Saudi Arabia. Coincidentally, both of them are new tracks, so yeah, he must be a new track merchant at the moment. But yeah, Baraka extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship. 2 wins on the bounce this season already. Can he make it 3 when we head to Belgium next week?
Well, it's got to be said, as long as he doesn't get promoted, of course. There's a chance that could happen.
It could happen.
I really hope he doesn't, because there's a good chance he's going to win the title now with this one. Because you know what, he did have all the right ideas there in the end, and took a very nice victory there. And I can tell you that he won't want to move up, I don't think, to just lose the title. But we'll see. But yeah, it's a victory. Who ended up with the fastest lap? It was Valentine in 12th, so no one gets the point for that. But the order: Baraka, CC Brain, Louis, Jax, Andrea, Devon, Azzy, Kryptonite, Ricky, and Tom. Tom, in the end, I suppose it was right not to pit, because he did just about stay in the points, but still, Aston Martin, what a disaster. Cohen, Valentine, and Dino were the last finishes, but the biggest moment in that race was Cazzizzle spinning, hitting his teammate, and costing Aston Martin. They were looking at a 1-2 potentially at the time, and that was not a good sign for them. Really bad stuff, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens in league racing, and it was looking like Aston Martin were the favourites to take the lead of the Constructors' Championship, but with them making contact as well, because Cazzizzle's spin, that's pretty much put Mercedes back in contention now. I believe Mercedes are leading the Constructors' Championship again, so it's I think they've been leading the Constructors for quite a bit so far, so we will wait and see if any of the drivers will like to go in for post-race interviews as well. Not many of them do, but usually we like to hear from all of them anyway. But loads of drivers of the day there, but I don't know how Baraka survived that's went on to win this race. He thought that the alternate strategy would work the best, but he proved us all wrong and showed us with the DRS train that he was able to defend like crazy. Everyone else was struggling behind and having incidents. He wasn't. That's what won in the race today.
Yeah, and you know what? I suppose he decided track position was key. And I suppose the biggest mistake was that Louis just didn't send it on him at any point on the last lap. At least keep everyone within DRS. But, well, look, I'm sure he's still happy with his result. But I'm sure he'll be thinking at the back of his mind, should have played that differently. But that's how it all goes, and regardless, it meant for a very good race, and so can't say I'm disappointed regardless.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race as well. Jeddah always delivers in league racing, and I think we're looking forward to seeing if it delivers well next season. Please, Connor, put it in the calendar next season. That would be great. Next week, though, we'll be getting to our final race before the break week. It will be Spa next week, as I was saying as well, which brings a lot of crazy weather, usually in F2. Hopefully, we'll have another good race as well. We usually like Spa in F2. It always brings a thriller as well, but I think the drivers are going to go to some pretty high-speed tracks, to a track which is the longest in the Formula 1 calendar. We've gone from the second longest to the longest in terms of kilometres. 7.004 kilometres is Spa, and I think it was around 6 kilometres for Jeddah tonight as well. So 2 long tracks they've got to deal with in the space of 2 weeks, but at least after Spa they will get a break. But they've got one more track to worry about first, so we will see what happens. No one is weighing an interview box yet, but are there any thoughts on what people could expect from Spa next week?
I hope we can expect a 7th from winner, hopefully, and some more good racing, possibly a bit of weather.
Yeah, we could, potentially as well. We'll give you a few more moments, but whilst we wait for that, we'll give a quick reminder again for our sponsor, Grid Rival, which does an F1 2022 Fantasy League, and you can click the affiliate link in the description in order to check that out as well. They're sponsors for quite a bit, so thank you very much. PremierSimGL.com/Grid Rival, or click the link in the description as you said as well. I'll probably try and enter as well. Make sure you enter your first team in before the season starts properly on Sunday with the new regulations as well. No one is gonna come in to the interview box, which is a bit of a show, so we're going to wrap up the stream now, knowing that it'll probably come into the interview box as we're just about to wrap up the stream. So thanks for watching. We've got F1 coming up next, which they're just about to start their Jeddah race. They're going towards the end of their qualifying session, so make sure you tune in for that. And we've got F5, F6 and F8 on at the moment, and as well as what we had in F2, there was also F3 and F4 that happened at the same time as us, so make sure you check those out as well. But I've been Jess Ball, Owen's been Owen White, and we will see you next week for the Belgian Grand Prix, which should be an absolute cracker. You don't want to miss it. Goodbye.